Do you know how much math I had to do to make this list for 53-man roster season predictions video? I did this last year, right? I did this last year for 2017. You know, it was like my first off season making videos. So I was like, oh, you know, I'll make a video making predictions. It'll be fun, right? Roster predictions. And then I missed a lot of stuff. I said Luke Stalker was going to make this roster over Alan Cross, which at the time, that was a fair prediction, but I didn't say Bobo Wilson was going to make this roster. I didn't say Peyton Barber was going to make this roster. That's how little of faith ye had in Peyton Barber. So this year, I'm correcting my mistakes. That is right. I'm going to try and get every single pick right. So hopefully you guys enjoy, like the video. You know, if you do, or if you agree with any of these picks, I guess I should say. So 53-man roster season predictions, let's get into it. Taking a look at the quarterback position first, okay? Now obviously this is me making the assumption that Jameis Winston's suspension does not count towards the 53-man roster. That's right, I'm just assuming it doesn't, because I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I actually have no idea. But I actually have the Buccaneers going with, I guess I should say, not taking. They're going with two quarterbacks to start off this year. They're going to go with Ryan Griffin and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Austin Allen's cool and all, and I think he's definitely going to be on this practice squad. He might even be a guy that we won't be able to keep on this practice squad because he's just that talented. However, I think that Ryan Griffin and Ryan Fitzpatrick have so much momentum going their way, and they have all of the how should I put this? They have all the sway, I guess I should say, and leverage to make this roster over a guy like Austin Allen. So that's why I decided to go with him. Moving on to the running back position, I do want to give an honorable mention to Sean Wilson. Is it Sean Wilson? I'm like 90% sure it's Sean Wilson. Yeah, it's Sean Wilson, okay? Sean Wilson, I think, is going to be on the practice squad. And, you know, I talked to Ren from the Petercast. He thinks that he's kind of a dark horse guy to make this roster. And also Corey Draper from the Play Reaction also likes Sean Wilson a lot. However, I decided to go with 4 different running backs. I decided to go with Ronald Jones. That's a safe pick, right? Obviously the past second-round pick that the Bucs just made, like, what, a month ago or something like that. Peyton Barber, again, pretty fair pick in my opinion. And then Jacquizz Rodgers and Charles Sims. Now this one is up for a little bit of debate because last time an undrafted running back for the Buccaneers was getting a lot of praise from people. I didn't buy into it, and that ended up being Peyton Barber's. Now it's like, oh, do I go with Sean Wilson here, or do I just stick with the veterans who know the system more, like guys like such as Charles Sims and Jacquizz Rodgers? And you know what? I got it wrong last year, and I'm probably going to get it wrong this year, but I don't care. I'm still going with Charles Sims and Jacquizz Rodgers. I think the coaching staff and just overall the front office like them a lot. Charles Sims was a Jason Light pick in the 3rd round of, I believe, his first draft. Same draft as Mike Evans, I believe. And then for a guy like Jacquizz Rodgers, he's kind of a veteran presence. I know the coaching staff probably likes him a good bit because, honestly, he's just been a role player, and he's been not too bad. You know, he has seemed to have slowed down a little bit, but I still think he can provide something for this team in terms of his overall running back productability? I don't know. Production. He can provide something for overall running back production, which is why I have Jacquizz Rodgers making this roster. Moving on to the fullback, and I guess I'll count the tight ends in here as well. So I have them carrying 4 fullbacks, or 4 tight ends. 4 tight ends and 1 fullback / tight end, and that's fitting in with the 4 tight ends as well. So for the 4 tight ends, one of them being a fullback as well, I have Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, I have Anthony Auclair, and I have Alan Cross. Last year, I did not have Alan Cross on this roster. I believe I had, it was Luke Stalker, like I said, and I didn't have Anthony Johnson on here, which Anthony Johnson's still on this roster. I don't know what he's doing for us, but he's still on this roster. You know, shout out to Anthony Johnson, but still, I'm not making the same mistake. Alan Cross is going to make the team yet again because they like him. He's pretty versatile. I like it whenever Alan Cross catches the ball. I think he caught a touchdown last year from Jameis Winston, if I'm not mistaken, so I love that. I think the coaching staff likes it a little bit too, and I think he's going to make the roster. Donnie Ernsberger, I think that's what his name is. No, I don't think it's Donnie Ernsberger. There's another tight end. I want to look him. I'm looking him up real quick, so everybody bear with me. Let's see. Here it is. It is Jason Reese. It's Jason Reese, right. Jason Reese is one of my guys to make the practice squad as well. He's 6'5", 250 pounds. Dude sounds like he's built like a monster. I don't think he's played football his entire career. Maybe he played basketball. I can't remember. But still, the dude's built like a freaking pretty darn big tight end, and I think that that is going to get him a spot on the practice squad. However, moving on to offensive linemen. Now, I have the Buccaneers carrying 9 offensive linemen, which is a little bit less than expected. I think they usually carry around 10. However, I do have the Buccaneers carrying 4 offensive tackles, 4 offensive guards, and 1 center, and I'll get into that in a minute. However, for offensive tackles, this one's pretty cut and dry in my opinion. I have them taking not taking, why do I keep on saying taking? It's not like they're in the draft or something. I have them going with Donovan Smith, Leonard Wester at left tackle. That's fair. That seems pretty fair to me. At right tackle, DeMar Dotson. Obvious pick is obvious. And then I went with Brad Seaton over, who was it? Brad Seaton over Cole Gardner, because I just like Brad Seaton's build better. You know, he's 6'8", I think. Is he 6'8"? Oh my god, he's 6'8", weighs 325 pounds. That's good enough for me. I think he's going to be the backup guy. I've never been too particularly impressed with Cole Gardner anyway, so I'm going with Brad Seaton. I don't know, but anyway, for the offensive guards, for offensive guards, I'm going with Alex Kappa. Obvious pick is obvious. Former literally the last third round pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't talk today. I'm also going with, oh my gosh, what is his name? Caleb Benenoch. Jeez, I'm blanking. I'm trying to think too fast, man. Caleb Benenoch, Alex Kappa at right guard, at left guard, Ali Marpet. And I was actually going to go with was it Adam Geddes? It wasn't Adam Geddes. It was somebody else. Evan Smith, that's right. And the reason I picked Evan Smith too is because he can kind of swing into that backup center role if he needs to. He obviously, when he signed with us, he was a center coming from the Green Bay Packers. So Evan Smith, Alex Kappa, Ali Marpet, and Caleb Benenoch. Jeez, I'm trying to refocus here, but those are my guys. Evan Smith's useful because he can swing into that center role and just kind of be put literally anywhere. I feel like he can kind of get put anywhere. And then Kappa, Benenoch, and Marpet are all pretty obvious picks. But then finally for the center position, I wonder who I'm going to pick for the center position. Maybe one of the highest, if not the highest paid center in the league, Ryan Jensen. Is that a fair pick to you guys? I think that's a fair pick. The one thing I am a little bit worried about, I guess you could say, for this offensive line prediction is that, like, I only have 9 offensive linemen when usually for offensive lines you want to carry around 10. Like, for example, I have 10 defensive linemen that the Buccaneers are keeping, so I'm a little worried about that, but still, I think my picks are pretty solid. Moving on now to the defensive side of the ball. Yes, we're moving on to the defensive side of the ball. For defensive ends, I have them carrying 5. I have them carrying 5, and then I have them carrying 5 defensive tackles. But to talk about the defensive ends first, I have them carrying Vinny Curry. I have them carrying Jason Pierre-Paul, William Golston, Noah Spence, and who was the last defensive end? There was one more defensive end. Why do I always forget? I'm drawing blanks here today, guys. I'm so sorry. It was William Golston. It was Jason Pierre-Paul. It was Vinny Curry. It was Noah Spence. Oh, and Will Clark. Right, Will Clark. The reason I had Will Clark, too, is because I think he showed enough last year to prove that he's a capable defensive lineman for the team, at least in a backup capacity. You know, obviously he was, he did get some starting moments last year just due to the sheer amount of injuries and, you know, not very good play, so it caused rotations. And he still led the our team in sacks for defensive ends last year. Granted, it was only like 2, but still, bear with me. I still think that's good enough to earn him a backup spot. I don't think he's a bad edge rusher, especially considering how we signed him at like midway through the year last year. I think he'll be fine, and I think he'll definitely have a backup spot. He might even edge Golston out in terms of like overall depth chart ranking. I have a lot of faith in Will Clark, and watch the Bucs prove me wrong and cut him. Wouldn't that just be terrible? If that happens, you guys need to remind me and say rip Will Clark in the chat for me. You know, that'd be wonderful. But anyway, moving on to defensive tackles. Okay, for defensive tackles, I have them again taking 5. This one wasn't too hard for me at all. You have Gerald McCoy, Vita Vea, Bo Allen, Mitch Unrein, and I have Stevie Tukulavatu making this roster yet again. You know, I think he's just going to add a little bit more to that defensive line depth, and I think that they like him as depth. Obviously, he's been on this roster for the past couple of years for a reason. Dude's big. The dude's, like, really big. How big is he? He's 6'1", 320 pounds. I think that's the second heaviest defensive lineman behind Vita Vea, obviously, but dude's a beast, at least size-wise. The height's a little bit low, 6'1". I'm 6'1". But still, I think he's going to make this roster. And he should be good to go. He should be fine. Moving on to linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties, I have them taking 5. Ooh, what I was wait. I have them taking how many linebackers? 5 linebackers, 5 cornerbacks, and 5 safeties. I think. Yeah, I think so. If I did my math right, this should all add up to 53. And if I'm wrong, I will go ahead and fix it at the end of the video, but I'm pretty sure I'm right here. So yeah, 5 linebackers, 5 cornerbacks, 5 safeties. Let's start with the linebackers. I have Levante David, Quan Alexander, Kendall Beckwith. There's your 3 starting linebackers. And then for backups, I have Jack Sitchie, and then I also have Adarius Glanton / Adarius Taylor, and that's it. That's it. Those are my 5 linebackers. Devontae Bond, no. Riley Bullough, no. And then also Cameron Lynch, no. I don't think any of these 3 linebackers are going to make the roster. I think that they're going to value defensive line depth over linebacker depth this year, especially considering you have 2 insanely high-quality backups in Adarius Glanton and Jack Sitchie. There's been some buzz, I guess you could say, going around that maybe Adarius Glanton could even challenge Kendall Beckwith for his starting spot. I don't believe in that. However, if that buzz is happening, that's like, oh man. And, we've all seen how valuable Adarius Glanton can be. He's been he's come in and started and played fine before he broke his leg last year in the Monday Night Football game against the Falcons. And then you add in a guy like Jack Sitchie, who should have been a 3rd-round pick this past draft if it wouldn't have been for leg injuries. So you couple those 2 together, that's already solid enough linebacker depth. I don't think you need to use another roster spot for another linebacker, so I have them only going with 5 here. Then moving on to cornerbacks, this one, again, pretty cut and dry, 5 guys. I wanted to add a couple of more, but I just didn't have enough space on my roster and whatnot. So for these 5, I went with Brent Grimes, Vernon Hargreaves, MJ Stewart, Carlton Davis, and Ryan Smith. So no Javian Elliott, no, I think it's David Rivers, no, none of them. Maybe they'll make the practice squad, maybe they won't. I don't know. I've only guessed a couple of guys for the practice squad in this video, but those are my 5, and I think that's a pretty safe guess. I think those 5 are literally locks, in my opinion, to make this cornerback room / roster, I guess you could say. So yeah, I feel pretty safe with that one. There's not much analysis to go into it. Yeah, I might do a starting lineup later on down the line, but obviously we haven't even started training camp yet, so who's to say. But moving on to safeties, again, 5. I'm going with Josh Robinson just for the pure fact of how good he is at special teams. Him and Ryan Smith are really good, and I think that's going to help them make this roster a lot. After Ryan Smith, you have Chris Conte, you have Justin Evans, you have Jordan Whitehead, and you have Keith Tandy, right? So Josh Robinson, Keith Tandy, Chris Conte. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. And Jordan Whitehead, right? 5. Godwin Ijwebuike, I love him so much, but I didn't have room for him on this roster right now. I think he's going to be on the practice squad, but I don't have enough room for him on this roster. I'm so sorry, Godwin. Please forgive me. But I don't have any room for him on this roster. I think Josh Robinson's going to edge him out in terms of overall special teams play, unless Godwin just turns out to be this absolute beast in special teams, which I think he is, but that's just me. I think Josh Robinson's spot is pretty safe. And finally, moving on to the final special teams kicker. Gee, I wonder, the guy we just gave a 3-year, $10 million contract to, Chandler Catanzaro, punter, Brian Anger. Now, long snapper, this one's interesting. Who's going to be our long snapper? My guess is it's probably going to be like Drew Ferris. I don't know. They have a hole at long snapper right now, which is weird. They don't have a hole at long snapper. They still have Drew Ferris on the roster. But there's been talk that the Bucs are going to sign another long snapper, which is why we're at that point in the offseason, people. So bear with me. But yeah, Drew Ferris, sure, why not? So I think if you add all that up, I'm pretty sure that's 53 because that's what? Two quarterbacks, 4 running backs, that's 6. 1 fullback, 7. 4 tight ends is 11. 6 wide receivers, that's 17. 20, 29, 30. I think that's 30 on the offense, right? Am I crazy? I don't know. Let me go check my math. I'll be back. Okay, I'm not crazy. I did all the math. My first number on the offense was way off. I have the Bucks rolling with 25 offensive players, 28 defensive players, which when you add all that up, that's 53. Whoa, crazy. What? This is with Jameis Winston's suspension, making sure he doesn't count towards the 53-man roster. So when he does come back, I don't know who they're gonna cut. I honestly have no idea. I honestly have no idea. Maybe a safety. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, guys, that's my official Buccaneers 53-man roster predictions. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know your predictions down in the comment section below, and I'd love to read all the paragraphs. You know, I read every comment. I love reading all your comments, you know, and getting your Buccaneers takes and opinions. And honestly does help with the process of how I make these videos, and it does give me ideas of stuff to talk about. Like, for example, when I made the Should the Buccaneers Trade for a Quarterback video, that was honestly one of the big factors in me making that video, was because I saw people coming up with that idea in the comments, and I thought, this might be an interesting discussion to have with you guys. So again, always keep these comments rolling in, because I greatly appreciate it. If you are liking the channel and you're new, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be doing a lot of stuff coming up soon, especially with training camp coming, and throughout the season, I'm going to be insanely busy with channel stuff. I'm honestly going to try and be as busy as these like Bucks media outlets, you know, like I'm gonna try and be insanely busy. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and leave a like, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and as always, guys, until the next video or live stream, see ya, and as always and forever, go Bucks.